I died, choking on my own blood. The prenup knife buried in my gut. My fiancé's face twisted in the kind of smile that said he'd finally won. The last thing I saw was my in-laws' cold eyes through the wedding veil, whispering, "It's for the family," as if that justified carving out my future. But death isn't the end when you've got unfinished business. Waking up in my old body, 3 months before the altar, I knew, this time, I'd bury them first. The fluorescent hum of my alarm clock yanked me out of oblivion like a bad hangover. But this wasn't the sterile hospital room where I'd flatlined.
No.
This was my cramped Brooklyn apartment, the one with the leaky faucet and the view of the fire escape where I'd once dreamed of starting a family. My hands, my young, unscarred hands, shot up to my face, fingers trembling as they traced smooth skin. No jagged scar from the emergency tracheotomy they'd botched on purpose. I bolted upright, heart slamming against my ribs like it was trying to escape the nightmare. July 15th, I whispered, staring at the calendar on my phone. 3 months. 3 goddamn months before the wedding that killed me. The date stared back, mocking me with its normalcy. In my first life or death, whatever you call it, I'd been so blinded by love, by the promise of Ethan Hargrove's easy smile and his family's old money charm, that I ignored the red flags waving like cheap Christmas decorations. The Hargroves, pillars of Manhattan society, real estate tycoons who'd built their empire on foreclosing dreams. And me, Jasmine Rivera, a scrappy paralegal from Queens, clawing my way up from nothing. We met at a charity gala. I crashed for free wine, and he swept me off my feet like some rom-com hero.
Lies.
All of it. I stumbled to the bathroom mirror, splashing cold water on my face. But the reflection didn't lie. 28 years old, wide brown eyes still full of that stupid hope, curly hair wild from sleep. No hollow cheeks from the poison they'd slipped into my champagne toast.
No.
That came later, after the prenup signing, when they decided I was too much of a liability. The secret? I'd uncovered their dirty little laundering scheme through Ethan's files at the firm, millions funneled through fake shell companies, disguised as philanthropy. I'd confronted him gently, thinking we could fix it together. Instead, he confessed to his parents, and they fixed me.
Permanently.
A laugh bubbled up, bitter and unhinged, echoing off the tiled walls.
Reborn.
It sounded like some pulp novel, but here I was, pulse racing with the certainty of it. The memories flooded back in Technicolor horror, the rehearsal dinner, the forced prenup shoved under my nose 2 days before the vows. It's just protection. Jazz. Ethan had cooed, his hand on my knee like he owned it. His parents, Victoria and Reginald Hargrove, Vicky and Reggie to their country club cronies, loomed like vultures. Their lawyers circling with clauses that stripped me of everything. No alimony. No assets. A gag order on any family business I might spill. I'd signed, tears blurring the ink, because I loved him.
Fool.
But the real knife, literal and figurative, came on the wedding night. After the ceremony, in the penthouse suite overlooking Central Park, they toasted my new beginning. The champagne tasted off, metallic, but I drank anyway, chalking it up to nerves. Hours later, convulsing on the marble floor, Ethan holding me down while his mother injected the air bubble that finished the job. "Sure, darling," she'd purred. "No one will question a tragic overdose." Overworked bride. Too much stress. The prenup ensured my death, left them untouched. My modest savings funneled back to the estate. My voice silenced forever. I gripped the sink, knuckles white, bile rising. Not this time. This time, I'd play their game, but I'd rewrite the rules. First things first, arm myself. I wasn't just Jasmine the pushover anymore. I had knowledge, insider knowledge of their crimes, timestamps, account numbers etched into my brain like a vengeful tattoo. And I had time. By noon, I was at my old firm, Sterling and Associates, in a pantsuit that screamed, "Don't fuck with me." My boss, Miriam, raised an eyebrow over her bifocals. "Jasmine, you're early for the deposition prep." "Everything okay?" "Never better," I lied, flashing a smile that felt like baring teeth. "Actually, Miriam, I need a favor." "A big one." I laid it out, hypothetically, of course, about a client facing a hostile prenup from wealthy in-laws. She leaned back, steepling her fingers, the way she did when she smelled blood in the water. "Sounds like coercion. We could argue duress, undue influence. Get you a top litigator." Her eyes sharpened. "This hypothetical have a name?" I hesitated, then dropped the bomb. "Hargrove." Her gasp was music. The Hargroves had been untouchable, their donations keeping half the partners in yacht clubs. But Miriam? She was old school, the kind who ate bullies for breakfast. By evening, I had a file thicker than my thigh, precedents on predatory prenups, whistleblower protections, even RICO statutes for the money laundering I'd stumbled upon in a mock audit. I burned the midnight oil, mapping it out. Step 1. Feign ignorance. Let them think I was still the wide-eyed fiancé. Step 2. Leak just enough to the right ears. FBI tip line. Anonymous, but traceable if they pushed. Step 3. The wedding. I'd sign nothing without my own shark in the room. Ethan called at 8 p.m., his voice all honey over the line. "Hey,
Babe.
miss you already. Dinner at Le Bernardine tomorrow? Mom and Dad want to talk wedding stuff." My stomach twisted, but I purred back. "Can't wait."
Click.
I hung up, then dialed my cousin Rosa in Queens. "Rosa, it's Jazz. I need you to do me a solid. Watch my back this time. And bring that cousin of yours, the one who's a PI." She laughed. That big, booming sound that always grounded me. "Girl, what kind of trouble you in?"
Spill.
"Family kind," I said. The worst. That night, sleep came in fits, haunted by echoes of my death rattle. But when dawn broke, I rose with fire in my veins. The Hargroves thought they owned the city, pulled strings like puppeteers. They didn't know I'd cut them loose. 2 weeks in, and the cracks were showing. Ethan proposed our first engagement photo shoot in the Hamptons, his parents' summer pile, a sprawling estate with hedges taller than my regrets. I arrived in a sundress that hugged my curves just enough to remind him what he stood to lose. Victoria greeted me at the door, her Botox smile as fake as her pearls. "Jasmine, darling, you look radiant." Reginald grunted from his leather armchair, nursing a scotch. "Sit. We have matters to discuss." Ethan squeezed my hand, oblivious or playing it cool. "It's nothing big.
Jazz.
Just prenup stuff. Standard for families like ours." There it was. The hook. I let my eyes widen, feigning shock. "Prenup? Ethan, you didn't mention." He backpedaled. "Babe, it's protective. For us. Victoria slid the folder across the polished oak table, her manicured nails tapping like a countdown. Clauses for asset division. Non-disclosure. You understand,
Dear.
we must protect the legacy. I flipped through it, heart pounding not from fear, but anticipation. Same bullshit as before, me penniless if it ended, silenced on their affairs. But this time, I had dog-eared pages of counterarguments in my purse.
I
need to think, I stammered. Buying time. Reginald's face darkened. Think fast. Weddings in 10 weeks. That night, back in Brooklyn, I pored over the docs with Rosa and her PI cousin, Marco. Look here, Marco said, jabbing a finger at the fine print. This ties into offshore accounts. Smells like tax evasion. More than that, I whispered. Laundering. I saw the ledgers once. Rosa whistled low.
Jazz.
This is deep. You sure? Surer than my next breath. By morning, I'd emailed an anonymous tip to the IRS, laced with just enough detail to itch but not expose. Let them squirm. The days blurred into a tense tango. Ethan grew clingy, showering me with gifts, a diamond tennis bracelet, weekends in the Keys, as if jewels could blind me to the noose. His parents ramped up the pressure. Casual lunches where Victoria dissected my background like a lab specimen. Queens. Such grit. But the Hargrove name carries weight. I smiled through gritted teeth. Weight I can handle. Behind the scenes, I built my arsenal. Miriam hooked me up with Elena Vasquez, a cutthroat family law attorney who'd once bankrupted a tech bro for palimony. We'll gut this prenup like a fish, Elena promised over coffee in her Midtown office, her silver streak of hair catching the light like a warning. But Jasmine, revenge? That's a slippery slope. Not revenge, I lied. Justice. As August heat thickened the air, the first real blow landed. Ethan cornered me after a firm happy hour, his breath Scotch-sweet.
Jazz.
What's with the distance? You seem
Off.
I leaned in, tracing his jaw like old times. Just wedding jitters. And that prenup? It hurts. Ethan. Like you don't trust me. His eyes flickered. Guilt? Calculation? It's not that. Mom and Dad. They're old school. Bullshit. I knew then. He wasn't on it from the jump. The proposal. The whirlwind romance. It was all bait. In my past life, I died loving him. This time, I'd make him choke on it. The IRS audit notice arrived via concerned source, leaked to the Post, a blind item about Manhattan moguls dodging Uncle Sam. Victoria called the next day. Voice iced over. Jasmine, have you been? Indiscreet. Me? Never. But I could hear the panic beneath her poise.
Good.
Let it fester. By month's end, Elena and I had our counter-prenup drafted, ironclad protections for me, with escape clauses tied to any criminal disclosures. We'd spring it at the signing, 2 days before the wedding. Ethan would beg. His parents would rage. And I'd watch it burn. But fate, or whatever cosmic joke this rebirth was, had other plans. A late-night text from Marco. Jazz. Dug deeper. Hargroves aren't just laundering. They framed your dad. That embezzlement bust 10 years back? Forged docs. Planted evidence. You were collateral. My world tilted. Dad gone to prison. Dead of a heart attack inside. I'd blamed myself for not fighting harder. Now,
It was them.
the secret buried deepest. The betrayal that birthed my rage. Tears came hot and fast.
But they fueled me.
No more games. Full throttle. September rolled in like a storm front, humidity clinging to my skin as I navigated the subway to Elena's office. The city pulsed with oblivious energy, tourists snapping selfies at Times Square. Suits barking into Bluetooths, but I moved like a ghost. Half in this life. Half haunted by the one I'd clawed back from. Marco's revelation about Dad sat like lead in my gut. I'd visited his grave last week. Weeds choking the headstone. Whispering apologies into the wind. I got
Pop.
for you. Elena was waiting. Her desk a war zone of legal pads and coffee stains. Jasmine,
Sit.
we've got leverage now. She slid over a dossier, thick with redacted emails and bank statements Marco had acquired through less than legal channels. The Hargroves hadn't just framed Dad, they'd used his theft from their construction firm to cover a kickback scandal. My father, a honest foreman who'd trusted Reggie like a brother, took the fall to keep their hands clean. Emotional damages alone could sink them, Elena said, her voice steel. Tie it to the prenup coercion, duress via blackmail. We expose this. And the wedding's off. But so's their empire. I traced the forged signature on the exhibit, a scrawl I'd seen on birthday cards. They killed him. Elena. Slow. But sure. She nodded. No pity. Just resolve. Then we bury them. But carefully. Rico's a beast. We loop in the feds quietly. That night, Ethan took me to our favorite speakeasy in the village. All dim lights and jazz that usually melted my defenses. He ordered Manhattans, his knee pressing mine under the table.
Jazz.
The prenup signings Friday. Mom's pushing for no lawyers on your side. Family affair. I sipped slow, letting the cherry bitterness mirror my thoughts. And if I bring one? His laugh was forced. Babe. It'd kill the vibe.
The vibe.
As if this was a Netflix rom-dram, not a setup for my slaughter. I leaned in, lips brushing his ear. Ethan, what if I told you I know about your families? Side hustles? The shells? The donations that aren't? He froze. Glass midway to his mouth. What?
Jazz.
That's crazy. Panama Papers didn't lie. I'd seeded the doubt with a planted article on his browser history. Courtesy of Marco's tech wizardry. His eyes darted. Sweat beading despite the AC.
Gotcha.
It's nothing, he stammered. Old business. I smiled. Sweet as strychnine. Then why the audit buzz? By the time we left, he was clingy drunk, arms slung over my shoulders like an anchor. In the cab, he murmured, I love you.
Jazz.
Don't let this change us.
Love.
The words soured on my tongue. In my deathbed haze. He'd whispered it too, right before the pillow pressed down. This time, I'd make it his noose. Thursday dawned gray. Rain lashing the windows as I prepped with Rosa over bagels in her Astoria kitchen. Her place smelled of fresh empanadas and laundry detergent, a far cry from Hargrove opulence, a reminder of the roots they'd tried to uproot.
Mia.
You look like you're heading to war, she said. I'm my power suit. I am. I hugged her tight. If it goes south, get out. Take Marco. She swatted my arm. Like hell. We're Riveras. We fight dirty too. The signing was set for noon at the Hargrove family lawyer's office on Park Avenue, a glass tower that screamed untouchable. I arrived early, Elena at my side like a shadow in stilettos. We waited in the lobby, her briefing me on last-minute twists. If they push back, invoke the duress clause. We've got affidavits from your father's old co-workers, enough to trigger an investigation. My phone buzzed. Ethan. Upstairs. Hurry. The conference room was a study in intimidation, floor-to-ceiling windows framing the drizzle-soaked skyline. A long ebony table flanked by leather chairs. Victoria perched at one end, regal in Chanel. Reginald beside her like a bulldog in Brooks Brothers. Their lawyer, a weasel named Hargrove, coincidence, shuffled papers. Ethan stood by the window, hands in pockets, avoiding my eyes. Jasmine, Victoria cooed, as if we were at tea. No entourage. I hope. Elena stepped forward, briefcase snapping open. Afraid not. Elena Vasquez, representing MS.
Rivera.
The room iced over. Reginald's scotch glass, already half empty, clinked hard on the table. This is a private matter. Any contract over 5 figures isn't. Elena shot back, sliding our counterdraft across. Especially when it reeks of coercion. Ethan's face paled. Jazz. What the hell? I met his gaze. Voice steady. Insurance. Baby. For us. Victoria snatched the pages, her lips thinning to a slash.
This
is blackmail. Call it parody. Elena leaned in. Your standard clauses gag MS. Rivera on family matters. Ours? Reciprocate. And if any criminal activity surfaces, like,
say,
falsified documents from a decade ago, we void it all. With penalties. Reginald exploded. Outrageous. We'll cancel the wedding. Try it, I interrupted, my voice cutting like glass. And I'll walk with everything I know. The ledgers. The frames. Dad's embezzlement. Ring any bells. Silence crashed down, heavier than the rain outside. Victoria's eyes, those cold blue chips, locked on mine. Calculating. Ethan slumped into a chair, whispering,
yes,
please. Hargrove, the lawyer, cleared his throat.
We
need to review. Review fast, Elena said. MS. Rivera signs nothing without mutual concessions. We left them to stew. Elena and I retreating to a coffee cart down the block. That was surgical, she grinned, handing me a latte. Felt like vivisection. My hands shook, adrenaline crashing. But it was just the opener. By evening, Ethan's texts were frantic. Talk to me. Mom's pissed. I didn't know about your dad, swear.
Lies.
Marco had photos. Ethan signing off on the frame job. Fresh out of Yale. Eager to prove his stripes. I ghosted him, instead meeting Marco in a dive bar off Broadway. What's next? I asked, nursing a soda. Deep dive on Victoria. Turns out, she's the architect, ran the laundering through her charity galas. Ethan's just the pretty face. And Reggie, muscle. But he's cracking booze and pills. Anonymous AA leak? I nodded. Do it. The next 48 hours were a pressure cooker. The wedding loomed. Invitations out. Vendors locked. Victoria called. Voice saccharine poison. Darling, let's put this behind us. Sign tomorrow. As planned. Adjustments can be discussed. With Elena present. A pause. Then, fine, but cracks spiderwebbed. The Post ran a follow-up. Hargrove heirs under scrutiny. Charity or cover? My anonymous seeds blooming. Reginald's AA leak hit a gossip blog, painting him as a fallen titan. Ethan showed up at my door at midnight, rain-soaked and desperate.
Jazz.
They're tearing me apart. Help me fix this. I let him in, towel in hand, playing the concerned fiancé. As he spilled half-truths about family pressures, I recorded it all. Phone hidden in my pocket. They made me sign the frame order, he sobbed. To prove loyalty. I hated it. Hated it. Not enough to stop. I held him as he cried, whispering, "We'll get through," while inside, I plotted the kill shot. Friday Redux. The revised prenup. Concessions carved out like flesh from bone. No gag on crimes. Asset splits 60-40 my way. A clause for external investigations. They signed. Jaws clenched. Victoria's pen stabbing the page. Congratulations, Elena said, gathering copies. You're protected, as we filed out. Ethan's hand grazed mine, pleading. I pulled away. Phase 1, complete. But revenge isn't a checklist, it's a hydra. That night, alone in my apartment, I dreamed of the knife again, waking in sweat. The wedding was 2 weeks out. Time to escalate. I started small, tips to competitors, whispers to board members. Hargrove Realty stock dipped 3%. Reggie raged in a voicemail Elena forwarded. You bitch, ruining us.
Good.
Then, the gala. Victoria's big annual fundraiser. Black tie at the Met. I went as Ethan's arm candy, dress a crimson sheath that screamed blood without spilling it. Cameras flashed as we posed, but my smile was a blade. During cocktails, I cornered a reporter from the Times, offering background on the charities. Ever wonder where the funds really go? Her eyes lit. Source? Anonymous. But credible. By dessert. Whispers swirled. Victoria cornered me in the powder room, grip bruising my arm. What are you playing at? Girl? Surviving, I hissed. Like Dad didn't. Her laugh was a shard.
He was weak.
Like you. I yanked free, storming out to Ethan waiting in the hall. Babe, everything okay? Perfect. But as we drove back to his place, mine for the optics, I slipped a USB into his coat pocket. Files, the full ledger, timestamps, my father's exoneration docs. Found this in old firm records, I'd say later. Thought you should see. He'd destroy it.
Or try.
But copies were already with the feds. Timestamped. The week before the wedding. Hell broke loose. FBI raided the Hargrove offices at dawn. Agents in windbreakers swarming like ants on a picnic. Reggie arrested for obstruction. Victoria for conspiracy. Ethan called. Voice breaking. Jazz. It's over. They're saying fraud. Everything. I feigned horror. Oh God. Ethan, where are you?
Cops.
They want me to flip. Don't.
Pause.
Dramatic. Fight. But he didn't. By noon, he lawyered up, spilling like a sieve. My recording from weeks back? Gold for the prosecution. I watched from a safe distance, Rosa's couch, news blaring. Hargrove empire crumbles in money laundering scandal. Victoria's mugshot hit feeds, defiant, but cracked. Ethan's plea? Immunity for testimony. And me, the grieving fiancé, shocked in interviews. I had no idea. Lies. Sweet as wedding cake. But the twist lingered. A shadow. As the wedding cancelled, vendors suing, I prepped my own suit for wrongful death. Not mine, Dad's. Elena grinned over Discovery Docs. They settled yet? Not yet. They would. Or burn. October's chill seeped into the city like regret, leaves crunching underfoot as I walked the high line, the Hudson glittering mockingly below. The Hargrove fallout was a media circus, headlines screaming, dynasty's downfall, talking heads dissecting the perfect family's rot. I avoided it mostly, holing up in Elena's conference room, sifting evidence like a miner panning for justice. But the high of their crumbling empire faded into a hollow ache. Revenge tasted like ash. It filled the void but left you starving. Ethan reached out through back channels, a burner phone number Marco traced to a seedy motel in Jersey.
Jazz. Please. Meet me.
I need to explain. Against Elena's advice. I went. Not out of lingering love, but to twist the knife. The motel was a Fleabag special, neon flickering vacancy, air thick with cigarette ghosts. He opened the door in sweats. Unshaven. Eyes red-rimmed. Once the golden boy. Now a specter. You came, he breathed, stepping aside. Curiosity. I stayed by the door, arms crossed.
No chair. No comfort.
He paced the threadbare carpet, words tumbling. It wasn't supposed to go like this. The prenup, Mom insisted. Said you were opportunistic. Then the laundering. I try to shield you. Liar. My voice cracked. But I held steady. You held me down while she injected the air. I felt it. Ethan. Your hands. He stopped. Face draining.
What, Jazz?
You. Died. The word hung. A guillotine. On our wedding night. Overdose. They called it. But I remember. The poison in the toast. The bubble to finish. For the family. His knees buckled. He sank onto the bed.
Impossible. You. God. No.
Reborn, I spat. Or cursed. Doesn't matter. I came back to end you. Tears tracked his cheeks. But I saw the flicker, fear. Yes. But calculation too.
Yes.
If that's true.
Help me.
I flipped on them. Testify against me. And it's all yours, the estate. The truth about your dad.
Bait.
He thought he could play me still. Trade scraps for salvation. I laughed. Low and broken. You think I want your scraps? I want you broken. As I turned to leave, he lunged, desperation raw. Hands grabbing my wrist.
Wait.
Please. I twisted free. Knee connecting with his gut. He wheezed, doubling over. Touch me again. And it's assault charges. On top of conspiracy.
Doorschlemmed.
Heart raced. In the cab back, I deleted his number. But the encounter gnawed. Was there a sliver of truth in his tears?
No.
Just another layer of the con. Back home, the mail brought the settlement offer. $15 million from the Hargrove Trust. In wrongful termination and defamation. Elena hooted over the phone. They blinked. Wire it. And your dad's name clears posthumously. I signed, but not without addendums. Public apology. Foundation in dad's name for wrongfully accused workers. Victoria's signature scrawled at the bottom.
Shaky.
Reggie was already in Rikers, crumbling under federal weight.
Ethan?
Out on bail. Trial pending. The controversial call came next. Pro bono work at the firm dried up, whispers of Hargrove sympathizers among partners. Miriam pulled me aside one lunch.
Yes.
You're toxic now. They say you orchestrated it. Let them. But it stung.
Y de Torcabrillas.
Alienated allies. Was justice worth isolation? Rosa dragged me to church that Sunday. Our Lady of Sorrows in Queens. Incense curling like prayers unanswered. Mija. Vengeance is the Lord's, Father Morales intoned from the pulpit. I scoffed inwardly. God hadn't saved Dad.
Or me.
First time around. But kneeling there, rosary beads biting my palm, doubt crept. The rebirth, gift or punishment. I'd save myself. But at what cost? Sleepless nights. Trust shattered. A future of what-ifs. Monday brought escalation. An anonymous email, grainy photo of me entering the motel. Timestamped. Back off. Or this hits the tabs. A friend. Ethan. Or Victoria's last gasp. I forwarded to Elena. Slap suit incoming? Worse, extortion. She paused. We counter with your confession recording.
But Jazz.
It goes nuclear. Do it. The story broke Wednesday. Fiancé's secret motel meet. Affair or alibi? Spin painted me the gold digger turned scorned lover. Calls flooded. Reporters. Old friends ghosting. Even Rosa fielding hate mail. I cracked that night. Vodka bottle half empty on the counter. Staring at Dad's photo. Was it worth it? Pop. The mirror showed a stranger. Harder eyes. Lines etched from lies untold. But dawn brought clarity. No backing down. I went public. Op-ed in the Times. The cost of silence. How one family's greed destroyed lives. No names at first. But hints sharp as scalpels. Responses poured. Support from victims' groups. Tips on more Hargrove dirt. Ethan's trial loomed. Set for November. As key witness, I prepped with prosecutors. Reliving the overdose as hypothetical, can't claim death without a psych eval. But the recording? It nailed him. Admissions of coercion. Knowledge of the frame. Climax built like thunder.
Victoria.
Out on bond. Demanded a sit-down. Neutral ground. A tea room in Gramercy. All lace doilies and poison pens. She arrived frail. Pearls choking her neck. Jasmine. End this. End what? Your legacy of lies. Her eyes. Once ice. Now fractured. Reginald's dying. Liver. And Ethan. He's nothing without us. Poor babies. Sarcasm dripped. Dad was everything. Till you stole it. She leaned in, voice a rasp. He knew. The kickbacks. Took a cut. Got greedy.
Lies.
But the seed.
Doubt.
Marco's files showed no such proof. Still, it wormed. Sign the NDA, she pressed. Sliding papers. Walk away rich. Forget the past. I tore it. Shreds fluttering like confetti. Forgot once. Died for it. Her gasp followed me out. That night. Another leak. Her confession audio.
Doctored?
No, my plant. Whispers of Dad's involvement, twisted to sound damning. Public outrage flipped. Was I the villain? Controversy peaked. Protests outside the courthouse. Justice for Rivera versus Hargrove innocence. I walked the gauntlet. Cameras flashing. Eggs splattering my coat.
Inside.
Ethan's trial. A circus of suits and sobs. He took the stand, tearful. Jasmine knew.
Push me to flip.
It's her revenge fantasy. Gasps rippled. My turn. Cross-exam cool. Dismantling his web. You mean the night you held me down in this fantasy? Objection. Sustained. But the seed planted. Jury deliberated days. I waited in a hotel. Rosa at my side. Whatever happens, you won.
Yes.
Did I? Verdict. Guilty. All counts. Ethan to 10 years. Victoria 15. Reggie life with no parole. Cheers erupted. But as cuffs clicked, Ethan's eyes met mine, not hate, but hollow. Why? You first, I whispered. Outside. Flashbulbs blinded. Victory tasted bittersweet. But the real twist? Walking home. Phone buzzed. Unknown number. Yasmin Rivera? This is Agent Hale. FBI. We need to talk. About your return. Chills. They'd connected dots. Hospital records. Overdose anomalies. Rebirth wasn't secret. File 4. The aftermath. Words. 999. November's bite sharpened. Frost etching the windows of my new loft in Williamsburg, paid for by settlement cash. A fortress of exposed brick and solitude. The trial's echo faded into tabloid filler. Hargrove headlines yielding to holiday cheer and political scandals. Victoria rotted in white-collar lockdown. Reggie a ghost in hospice whispers.
Ethan?
Letters from Sing Sing. Pleas for forgiveness, I burned unread. Justice served. Cold and complete. But Agent Hale's call lingered like a bad debt, pulling me into a gray sedan outside a Starbucks. His badge glinting under sodium lights. MS. Rivera, he said. No nonsense. Coffee steaming between us. Your overdose. We exhumed the talk screen. Anomalies. And witnesses. Inconsistencies. I sipped black. Steady. Grief plays tricks. He leaned in, eyes probing. Or resurrection. We've got files. Flatline at 11:47 p.m. Pronounced at 11:52.
Then.
Nothing official. You walked out 2 days later.
Norihav.
Conspiracy nuts online had spun theories, clones, faked deaths, but the feds? That meant traction. Agent Hale. If I died and came back, you'd lock me in a lab. But I didn't. Just a bad reaction. Bad family. He slid a photo across me. Post-death, blurry security cam from the hospital exit. This you? Time froze. In my rebirth fog, I'd slipped out, cab to the altar, desperate to rewrite. No records.
No traces. Mistake. Deepaka, I lied. He sighed.
Walk away. Jasmine. But if it surfaces? Witness protection's an option. The threat hung. As he drove off, I deleted apps.
Gustet contact.
Paranoia bloomed. Was rebirth a glitch? A cosmic test? Or had I always been this survivor? Schemer? Elena called that night. Voice buoyant. Suit settled, extra 5 mil for emotional distress. Dad's foundation launches next month. Rivera Justice Fund. Free legal for the framed. Tears pricked. He'd love that. We did good.
Jazz. Good.
The word echoed hollow. I volunteered at the fund's kickoff. A community center in Queens buzzing with immigrants like Dad, hard hats and hope. Stories poured. Lost jobs. Bent cops. Families fractured. Mine fit right in. Rosa hosted Thanksgiving. Table groaning under turkey and tamales. Marco regaled with PI tales, but his eyes lingered soft.
Questioning.
You okay? Prima? Happier. Half true. The betrayal scar ached, but healing. Post-feast. Bundled on her stoop. Stars punching through city haze. I confessed fragments. Felt like dying again. Sometimes. She squeezed my hand. But you lived. Twice. December brought snow, blanketing the betrayal. I dated casually, a barista with tattoos. Laughs easy. No rings.
No raschis.
Trust? A work in progress. But the twist uncoiled slow. Hale's warning? Not idle. A tail, subtle. Black SUV in my rear view. I confronted it one icy night,
Pulling over on the BQE.
Out stepped a woman. Not fed, sharp suit. Sharper eyes.
MS.
Rivera, she said, breath fogging. Not Hale. Independent. Your story. It's bigger.
Who?
Call it curiosity. Rebirths happen. More than you think. One out. Or in. Offer hung. A network. Shadows helping shadows. Revenge refined. Not raw. I drove away. Heart thundering. Join? Or alone? Christmas Eve. Alone in the loft. Tree lights twinkling.
Issues.
Burned Hale's card. Emailed the woman. Tell me more. New Year dawned crisp. Fund thrived, exposing mini Hargroves citywide. I testified in cases. Voice steady. Scars badges. Ethan's appeal denied. Victoria's suicide attempt. Failed. But a crack. Reggie passed quietly. Estate dust.
Me, Yasmin Rivera.
Reborn not once, but forged. Betrayal's child. Revenge's architect. Controversial? Hell yes, ruin lives. Bent laws. But in America's grind, that's survival. As spring bloomed, I stood at Dad's grave, flowers in hand. We won.
Pop.
Messy, but won. Wind whispered back. Or maybe just hope. The end?
Nah.
Just chapter 2.